Hey, so I think this stream has started. I'm not doing it through my usual computer, so I don't know if it's working or not. Looks like it might be. And it is going to be the least thrilling live stream ever. Right, so the deal is that thanks to the amazing support of my patrons and those who contributed to the GoFundMe, I have just got hold of a new M1 Mac Mini. Well, I actually got it last week, and everybody's just been let outside. And what I've been waiting for is some monitors to arrive. They just arrived about half an hour ago. So I'm going to do a big rearrangement. G'day Chris, hey Peter, Aaron. Yeah, so what I've got at the moment is a very temporary setup. I've got my laptop sitting on the center bench. I've got a camera on a tripod over there, and hang on, I'm going to switch over to OBS. So I've got a camera over there looking towards my main computer area, and I've got another camera over there looking towards that corner. And over the next little while, however long it takes, I'm basically going to pull everything off that desk and then pull everything off that desk and relocate this computer. So which way? That way. That iMac that you can see right there with the screensaver on and the Thunderbolt monitor that is beside it, they are going to end up going over in the other corner of the room. So that's the one that I have been using for the last little while. But I'm going to set it up over there so that I can still access it. What I'm doing with the new computer is a totally clean installation. So what I've done with computers in the past is I've run like a Time Machine backup and then restored the backup onto the new machine, and then everything is already there. All the software is set up and preferences and everything is ready to go. But this time I'm making it a kind of a clean break. So I've got a totally clean installation of macOS on it, and I've already synced Dropbox onto it and installed a few bits of software. So I've installed Eagle, Fusion 360 and a few other things. But basically what I'm going to do is keep my old computer running on that desk for a while at least, so that I can still jump onto it and use it when I need it, until I am confident that the new one is set up with everything I need. And then I can shut the old one down and sell it, I hope. So, where to begin? All right. And it's going to be strange feeling the pressure to talk while I'm doing this. Normally when I'm doing this, Aaron, 5:49 a.m., what are you doing up? Normally when I'm doing this sort of live stream, when I'm doing this sort of thing, like just working around in the, I better check which camera I'm on. Yes, that one. Cool. So what I do is have a podcast or something on, but this time I won't. I'll just try and talk instead. So step one is I've got to clear a whole bunch of stuff off. This is stuff related to the UT61E multimeter project. And I think a large part of my strategy here is basically just going to be to get everything off the benches, pile it somewhere else, and then put things back where they need to be. And this is my lab notebook. So I've got a lab notebook for every project I work on. And this is the one for the UT61E Wi-Fi interface. So it's got things like schematics for the comparator and that we were experimenting with, and notes on protocol and things like that. I need to put all of that away. In fact, I've got a box somewhere. Where did it go? Somewhere I have a UTC. Oh, there it is. I can put it in this. Oh, my dad's calling me. So now you can, hang on. You'll hear my side of the conversation. Hey, Dad. That's all right. I'm on the live stream right now, so that's okay. There are a bunch of people watching my half of the conversation. Okay. Cool. All right. See ya. Yeah, my dad is in the process of doing some work on an old Mac Mini that he's got as well. So we've just been talking about monitors and other things. Yeah, UT61E. So this is the multimeter Wi-Fi project box. Yellow, which means it's a project. It's got the project name on there. So I'll chuck the notebook in there. And what else? Oh yeah, bits. There are some comparators. There's a cable. I'll put all of this in there so that it's out of the way and in one place. Oh, the schematic of the multimeter, which is wrong, as we discovered. Only in a minor way. Just TX and RX swapped. Nothing important. Yes. Oh, and there's an A10 Mini Pro. And the box from the Mac Mini. I have no idea how to make this an interesting live stream. I suppose I will just do what I'm doing and glance at the chat occasionally. Haven't been to sleep yet, Aaron. And coding? So you've been coding all night. Is that your efficient time? The Mac Mini is running at the moment, so I need to log into it. And you can see if you can decode my password from behind. Shut down. So I've just had it set up with this monitor while I was getting software and things set up on it. This is my old iMac, which is the one that died a couple of months ago, and that I would very much like to resurrect just so that I can sell it. I did think that it had a power supply problem. Got to think about where I'm going to stick everything. Where will it fit? Down behind the camera. Yeah, so power supply problem. The power supply in those iMacs has status LEDs on it, and when it's plugged into mains, it comes up as like basically in standby mode, and the status LEDs on the power supply indicate a power supply fault. And I thought, oh, that's an easy fix. I'll just replace it. So I ordered a replacement power supply. This is actually the original one that's out of it. I ordered a new replacement, put it in, no difference. So I suspect it's the logic board that is not happy at the moment. Oh, this thing. This is something that I got. I'm chasing squirrels. What's going on here? As I'm putting stuff away. Doing cleaning up is a really good way of finding things that you haven't looked at for a little while. This is a 7-inch touchscreen for a Raspberry Pi. It's a capacitive touch, really nice screen. The resolution on it's only 800 by 480, but it's still very nice. And the touch on it is really good, much better than a capacitive touchscreen. I got that for making a control panel for the 3D printer, but it turned out to be physically too big, so I ended up going for, I think it was a 4.3-inch touchscreen. So where to put this? I don't know. I'm going to put this on a shelf in, no, I'm going to put it down here with the other miscellaneous bits. So I'm going to try to do this in a sort of logical sequence. Clear this bench, move the other computer, set that one up there. Unfortunately, when I built this bench, I did a really poor job of it. So it's not properly level. I made a really stupid rookie mistake. I assumed that the floor was level, and I measured off it when I was putting the brackets on the wall. Turns out the floor is not perfectly level. So the result is that the bench is not quite level either, which is very annoying. I should have used a spirit level instead. Picked one of the brackets as a starting point, and then used the spirit level to get everything else level relative to that. Alright, so that is the funky new M1 Mac Mini. Just going to put this over here for now. And right before I started the live stream, the courier came and knocked on the door with 3 of these, which is really cool. We'll get back to those. So what is going on with this? High-tech monitor stand cardboard boxes. One of my many USB hubs. That's going to be the biggest problem with switching to this Mac Mini. It's just the lack of ports on it. On the iMac that I've been using, I've got 3 USB hubs plugged in, plus the Thunderbolt monitor acts as a USB hub, and there are 4 ports on the back of the computer which are all full. I don't even know what this is. I think that's something Amelia left there. So getting enough ports, enough things plugged into the Mac Mini is going to be quite a challenge. And so many of the docks and things that you use for Thunderbolt devices are super expensive. Like to get something like a CalDigit Thunderbolt dock, here in Australia they can be $400+. So basically you buy a computer and then you pay 1/3 as much again just for a just to get some extra USB ports and some Thunderbolt ports. Who else is here? 50 Hertz. Yeah, maybe we can do a lab cleanup. John, yes, make more money. That is, I'm noticing on the stream that this is jumping all over the place. It says that the bit rate is very low. I don't know what's going on there. Could be just that my computer is, my little laptop is working its butt off to do this at all. Cable tie, welcome. Someone's printing stuff, which means we might have a visitor in a minute. Now the other thing over here, this is an ancient Mac Mini. Don't know what year it is. But this is one that was originally an accounting computer at IVT. It hasn't been turned on in a very long time, but it's a really old, very slow Mac Mini. But John, yes, you're right. I need to sell some things. So part of this whole cleanup is going to be finding excess stuff. Label printer. Yes, all my PowerPoints are labeled. Don't know if I'm going to put that label printer back on that desk. It almost never gets used because I've got a label printer on that desk as well. Now what would make this more interesting is if people could talk to me while I was doing it. it's not very practical to be watching chat while I'm doing this. Now, this is where I have all of my chargers. So I've got a Phantom charger, there's a general purpose LiPo charger here, camera charger, 18650 charger, another camera charger. So this is where all the battery stuff goes, and I'm just wondering if I should move that or leave it in place. I think I'm going to leave it in place and clean around it. Now, where does this cable go? That's the cable that the iMac was going to. That is the cable that was going to the monitor. That is the cable that was going to the old Mac Mini. I'm going to have to get out the vacuum cleaner in a minute too. Hard disk drink coaster. It's the platter out of a hard disk. I ended up pulling a whole lot of hard disks apart a couple of years ago to get the magnets out of them, because their magnets are very useful, like general purpose things. In fact, there's a pile of them here. So these are magnets out of hard disks. I keep it there because every now and then I need to grab a magnet and use it for something. I think I'm going to try to go as clean as I can with stripping these desks off. Except for those chargers. I'm going to leave those there. Okay, so what I need is a wiping rag. Oh, here we go. This will do nicely. And this is probably not the normal recommended cleaning product, but I'm going to wipe it down with a bit of IPA. Now, at some point in the past, there have been some ants that got in and then died. So there. I'll grab out the vacuum cleaner in a moment. In fact, I think that moment has come. Where is... oh, there it is. And before I do this, I'm going to hit mute because this vacuum cleaner is unfortunately loud. All right. Robin says, feels like time lapse with live audio. Yeah. This is, we had an outage in our area this morning. So, it may be that that's some lingering problem from that. All right. I'm going to hit mute and then do some vacuuming. And unmute. All right. Yeah. Yes, as I said, probably not the recommended surface cleaner, but I've got IPA handy, so. Oh, I forgot how strong it smelled. Alright, so I've got to get rid of the cables from underneath there, I think. some of these are going to get reused. In fact, that Mac cable, I should just leave that there, because I am going to set the other iMac there. Pull this one out. And the Thunderbolt monitor is going to need a power cable too. An IEC lead, so I'll stick that back up. Oh, come on. Stay up there. Standard problem of stuffing things up through the desk from below. Making them stay. And I'm going to plug this into cabled Ethernet. So I'll put an Ethernet cable in here somewhere too. That one, that will do. All right, so time to switch views and begin taking the, it's more like 0.5 frames per second. Yeah, so I wonder if that is because, well, I'm doing this off my laptop, which is connected by Wi-Fi, but the Wi-Fi should be reasonably fast. Yeah, I don't know why. I can tell that the laptop is working hard. It's sitting there with its fan spinning like crazy. All right, where to begin with this? Well, I suppose the first thing is shutting it down. Now, what view have you got from there? Okay, you're kind of looking over my shoulder. So, the way this is currently set up, this is the iMac, that's the Thunderbolt display, and that is an external, just like an HDMI connected thing through a, oh, excuse me, through a Thunderbolt adapter. So, it's time to shut this one down. Here's my big collection of Panasonic batteries. Because I've got a couple of Panasonic cameras, and when I got the first one I bought extra batteries for myself, and then when I got more cameras and lenses I got more batteries, and they came with their normal batteries plus extras, so I've ended up with a big collection of them. Looks like it's shutting down at last. And so what I'm going to do is just get the computer out of here, and that will, hey, you can come in. If you, the camera won't see you from there if you go to the printer.
Do you want anything from the shop?
No thanks. Okay, so, oh, there's a lot plugged into this. There's power, but there are the Thunderbolt devices and USB. So this corner is going to end up looking like a total mess for a while. As I move things over to the other side. I'm going to see bits of my desk here that I haven't seen for a very long time. And oh, I can already see that some of it's yellowed, like the paint on the desk surface has yellowed. Oh, it's got its own built-in power cord, I see. Is it built in, or can I unplug it? I don't know. I've got cables all wrapped around each other back there, so getting things out is a matter of untangling first. Alright. Oh, that one I know goes with this computer. So that needs to go over there. This trackpad also goes with that computer. Oh. No, there's a cable back there that I'm going to have to remove from under the bench. Oh no, I can unplug from here. That's good. And then I'll have to get under to pull it out. Yeah, what a mess. Right, I need that cable out so that I can plug it into the Thunderbolt display. Phone stand, get that out of the way. And everything is blue tacked down so it won't move. Like my keyboard, my trackball, stands for phones, it's all blue tacked to the bench. Just thinking about this streaming setup. What I could do is switch to the A10 Mini, but what would I have to do? Well, I need to get Ethernet across to it because it doesn't have Wi-Fi. Now, I think I'm going to, just for a little bit longer, I'm going to stick with the 0.5 frames a second. Oh, I'll get my Alexa out of the way as well. It's a charger for my watch. So when I'm sitting at my computer, I normally take my watch off and just stick it on the little charger stand, which is 3D printed. Oh, up to 4 frames a second now. Amazing. What is that plugged into? I'm going to remove a few cables while I'm at it here, because the more I remove, the clearer the way is going to be, and we'll see what's going on. Put that out. That was a random micro USB cable not plugged into anything at either end. So that can go up onto my cable hanger. There's the, you can see here there's a tripod which was just behind the monitor, and that normally I have the camera sitting on top of the tripod looking over the monitor. And that is also blue tacked in place to stop it from moving. But I'll get that out of the way. The way the new monitors are set up might end up being different, like how everything fits. And I want to start clean so that I'm not working around what is. But instead, I can work around what should be. So this is a chance to do it the right way. Find under here. Power cable for the Thunderbolt display. It's the charger for, what is that? Oh, that's the iMac cable. Power cable, get that out. You know what would have been really good for this is something that I ordered but hasn't arrived yet, which is a wearable head-mounted camera. I ordered one a week or so ago because I saw it on, I don't know, there was some video review of this camera. It goes on a clip around your head and it just sits beside your ear or down here somewhere. So wherever you look, that's what the camera sees. And I thought that could be a really useful thing for doing work at the bench. So I could be sitting at the bench, have the overhead camera, but also have the camera that is like my own personal point of view. Would have been really good to have that already for now. Although it'd probably make you seasick because I'm moving around all over the place. I've got a couple of 8TB drives back there as well. I'm going to change those. I'm going to move those over to here. I've also got a Synology NAS which is in a rack in the garage, but I have these as backups for some of the content from the NAS. I sync it. Oldie world frame rates. Yep. Yeah, I'm seriously considering switching to the A10 Mini Pro. It'll take a bit of stuffing around to get it set up. That's the only thing. And I wouldn't be able to use that camera because it only supports HDMI in. You can't plug in USB cameras. Yeah, always good to have a backup. Yes. Now, in YouTube, it's just started reporting that my connection has improved. Hopefully the frame rates will go back up. You know, it's still jumping around a fair bit. So, I am really seriously considering changing this over to using the A10 Mini. I think the setup on it might be too complicated though, because I would also need an external monitor plugged into this so that I could see all the menu items and see what it's actually showing. I think that would end up being really annoying trying to set that up. I wonder if part of what's making this slow is the computer trying to deal with two cameras. If I switch to just a single camera, like if I switch to the Brio camera and I'm going to unplug. So now if I switch back to... Oh, I just realized I can't do that because my audio is coming through the Panasonic. That was a silly idea. I think we're just going to have to live with the frame rates, which really sucks. Sorry, folks. Right, so discs. What have I got here? Got a couple of discs plugged into this hub. And because I'm not going to have much plugged into that iMac after it's moved, I'm not going to need that hub over there. I'll be able to just have these plugged directly into the iMac. And this comes back to that thing I was talking about earlier with lack of ports on the M1 Mac Mini. I just don't have enough to plug everything in and have any sort of performance on it. So I'm going to put these discs on the iMac. Because it doesn't matter if doing backups from the NAS takes a while. Oh, there's so much dust here. Still thinking about this. I am tempted to change my order of operations. instead of setting up the iMac now that I've got it out of the way, I think what I'll do is continue on this side and work towards getting the Mac Mini connected. Although if I get the iMac set up, I could probably switch to doing the streaming from that, which might be a big improvement. Yes. I think that might be worthwhile doing. That might take less work than trying to set up the ATEM. So, what do I need to do over here? All right. I can get rid of that IEC cable because instead I'm going to use the cable that is specifically designed for the Thunderbolt display. That one, that can go into the iMac. Now what have I done with stuff? Alright, so power into this one. Then Thunderbolt lead into this. I need Ethernet. And I'll stuff the excess cable down through the slot, down through the hole in the bench. Discs. Yes, I'll put the discs over the back. Come on. Cable's going everywhere. Power supply for the backup disc. Power supply for the other backup disc. That one's cable tied. Instead of being cable tied in a loop, I want to shove the excess down under the bench. Maybe I should have put a podcast on. Then you could have been listening to that instead of listening to me not talking. Okay, so now I've got to figure out, oh, where's the trackball? There it is. I stopped using a mouse maybe 20 years ago because I was getting early signs of carpal tunnel syndrome, and the combination of typing and the mouse was giving me real problems. So as soon as I started seeing the early signs of CTS coming on, I knew I had to do something about it. It's one of those things where if you ignore it for a while, it just gets worse and worse, and you can kind of mitigate it, but it's sort of degenerative. Once the damage is done, you're kind of stuck with it for life. So as soon as I started seeing any symptoms, I did everything I possibly could to prevent it from getting any worse. So I switched to using split keyboards, not this style. I switched to the old Microsoft, what was it? The Microsoft Ergonomic keyboard, and switched to the Dvorak keyboard layout and got rid of my mouse, switched to trackball instead. Although the trackball was relatively recent, that was maybe 11 years ago, I think, or 12 years ago. But I made all the keyboard changes first. Alright, so this needs to come up. One of the weird things about the 27-inch iMac and the 27-inch Thunderbolt display, the stands are different. They sit at different heights, which is very annoying. What did I just do with that wiper? There it is. So the first thing is I want to figure out, I'll get that out of the way. I want to figure out the position for these displays. So sitting here, what's comfortable? And with a like a dual monitor setup like this, you really need to have one as your primary monitor. It's no good sitting right in the center so that you've got the division between the two as your center of view. You end up focusing on one or the other. So I think what I'm going to do is move this around to the side, make this one more central, and make that the main focus. Because then I can still get to the battery chargers and things that are there. And then the Thunderbolt display can be like the secondary thing, but it needs to come up. And it needs to come up a significant amount. It's not just a couple of millimeters. I had some, oh, right here, I had some rulers. You won't be able to see it because it's black on black, but the difference in the position of the bezel, it's somewhat over 20 millimeters. I wonder what this piece of wood is. Just under 20 millimeters. So as an example, that would need to sit up there plus a little bit more. I'm not going to use this bit of wood because it's my my hot air soldering piece of wood. Well, that's not bad. It's maybe 5 millimeters low at the moment. But what I think I'm going to do is get this computer powered up and see if I can switch the live stream over to running from this instead of from that, and see if the frame rate goes up. So for that I need one of these power cables. Which one? That one. At least I think it's this one. Maybe it's that one. That's the other thing, is these two, you can see the generational differences between this iMac and the Thunderbolt display, which is the older generation. There are, yeah, these recessed power cables. There are subtle differences between them. That's better. That one fits properly. This one does not. This one fits in an iMac. Alright. Time to go caving. Okay. Don't need the old IEC lead. Ah, that cable is plugged into this UPS. So, I think I'll plug the Thunderbolt display into the UPS as well. Actually, no, I won't. Because if the Thunderbolt display loses power, the iMac will detect that it's lost power, and it will just adjust its window settings. And then the UPS will last longer. Okay, let's see if it boots. That seems like a no. Or is it a no? Oh no, it's doing something. It is booting. Alright, so this must be the power cable for my old dead iMac. And I'll put it with the iMac. I need to replace the wheels on this chair. It's still got the original wheels on it. It'd be nice if this whole thing was higher. I need to raise it all. But it'll do as a secondary sort of thing. Yeah, sorry, as I was saying, so the wheels on the chair, they're the original ones that came with it. And the other chair, so I've got two identical chairs. The other chair is the one that I normally use in that corner. And not long ago, I replaced the wheels with those, they're like silicon rollerblade wheels, and it's really smooth and quiet. It feels totally different. I can highly recommend a wheel upgrade. Now, how am I going to do this? All right, so with that computer, I can connect, I don't think that cable will quite reach. Well, it'll work if I relocate that camera, and then that camera, yeah, I'll figure something out. I'm going to be waiting ages if I wait for that computer to boot before I do anything else. So in the meantime, I'm going to keep cleaning up over here. Switch back to this side of the room. That's my little custom keyboard that I use for Eagle macros. I've never actually made those available for sale. I should. I did that quite a few years ago. The Leo pad. It's like a numeric keypad, like a it's almost like a calculator keypad. Not sure what I'll do about that microphone yet. I'll get there. But it's got a ATmega32U4 in it, and it does keyboard emulation. So when you press buttons on the front, you can have it send strings of keys, or like a sequence of keys, or a single key, or whatever. And I've got mine set up sending macros for Eagle. Overhead camera. Ending up with a big jumble of junk on that central bench now, which is going to be a pain when it comes to finding things. What is that? It's a USB cable, but where does it go? That is the ongoing question. So many cables here. Most of them are labeled, and this one's actually got a label on it, like a printed label stuck on it. But the label has faded, so I don't even know what it is anymore. Oh, I can read it. The label says label printer. So that is the USB connection for that label printer. USB hub plugged into a USB hub. I think I'll leave that in place. Trackball. I'm going to move this just so I can, well, I'll move it later, but I'm going to move it so that I can clean the, oops, there's a space mouse. This is actually a really cool mouse. It's got an accelerometer in it, and it's linked to the CCTV system, the NVR. So I'm moving the cursor around on the screens up there, and I can just hold the mouse in the air and wave it around and point at what I want to click on. So I can do that to go to the front door, or look at the driveway or whatever. So I'll get that out of the way. Sorry, it's not a space mouse, it's an air mouse. The space mouse is the little 3D thing for doing CAD, which should be here. Oh, there it is. Yeah, that's the space mouse. This other one that you wave around in the air is called the air mouse. What is that providing power for? Oh, that was providing power for my Zigbee gateway, which is now offline, but that's okay. I don't really care about that so much because I only use that for non-essential parts of the home automation system, like sensors. I've got door sensors connected to it, like reed switches and things, and environmental sensors. And I've also got, actually the one thing that does link to it is I have a Zigbee switch attached to the side of the ladder that helps me get up into the ceiling. Which is a place that I go very, very frequently. Surprisingly frequently. There's a fair bit of storage up there as well, so it's not all just for messing around with cables. Oh, the computer's booted. To here. Oh, it's logging in. Okay. I haven't even looked at the chat for like half an hour, 20 minutes. Is anybody still here? Oh, Dibby Dip. Hey, DD from India. That's cool that you're here. Iggy just sent me a message. Some bloke is walking around a room talking to himself. Yes, I am walking. Oh, Peter. Yes, I ate lunch. Iggy, so you're watching from the car. G'day. Tech Talk says I need one of the macro keyboards. Yes, I know. It's it's one of those projects that I should release. Now, I'm getting closer to having that old iMac booted, which means in a little bit I'm going to take this live stream offline and switch the cameras over to that and see if that fixes these frame rate problems. Because 0.5 frames a second is no fun. I don't think that it is bandwidth. I have a feeling that it is my laptop just struggling doing the encoding. What have we got here? Barrier, quit. Come on. I've got an order in with JLC PCB at the moment, and I've got this problem where I think the initial order was for, I think it was for 5 different PCBs and 3 stencils, but one of the PCBs was moderately unusual in that it was 4-layer rather than 2-layer, which adds a little bit of processing time. And also I'd selected some unusual colors, which means that it had gone, it doesn't cycle through quickly. They've got to wait until they've got a panel of that particular color and all that sort of thing. And that particular color in 4-layer, etc. And because that extends the processing time on the overall order, since then I've been doing more PCBs, and twice now in the last 2 days I've done a PCB design, generated the production files, and then added it on to the previous order. And those orders, because I just selected default everything, 1.6mm, green, no hassle, I didn't want it to delay the actual order, they've ended up being produced faster than the original one. And I'm in the situation now where I can keep adding PCBs to the order, but it's going to start delaying the ship date, which I don't want to do. So I'm going to not do that. All right, so what have we got here? JLC PCB. What reminded me is that the browser came up with JLC PCB. Now, do I even have internet? Do I have a working keyboard? Yes, I do. Looks like Google is working. Yep, we can load Twitter. So, is the trackpad working? Maybe. I don't know. All right, let's see if I can. Where's Launchpad? Let's see if I can find OBS. Oh, my monitors are backwards. Where is my monitor setup? Because it's only booted a few minutes ago, it's still being super laggy. It's still, it's just beach balling, clicking on on the notification menu. All right, display preferences. After a while it gets itself kind of sorted out as it shifts more stuff into RAM. Because when my old iMac died, I had 16 gig of memory in that. This one has 8 gig. Yeah, it had 8 gig originally, 2 4 gig sticks, and it's got 4 slots. So this one now has 24 gig of RAM in it, which is pretty nice, but that's basically the only saving grace. So it's still opening the system preferences window. Oh, there it is. Okay. And now I've clicked it and it's beach balling on switching tabs inside the window. And this is why we're switching to the M1 Mac Mini. I'm still waiting for it to switch to the arrangement tab. But at least once it's been running for a little while, it will have, it'll have got a decent amount of stuff in RAM. And that helps with its lagginess. Oh, I'm still waiting for it to open the control panel. Yeah, this is the sort of thing where, oh, now it has. Yeah, this is the sort of thing where I will click on something and go, and then waiting for it, I will go and do something else. Like turn on the soldering iron and do some soldering and then come back to the computer to see if the windows have opened. All right. Still no trackpad. I wonder if I've grabbed the right trackpad, because I think there are two. Am I clicking on stuff on my laptop or doing anything silly like that? No. Well, I got this trackpad. What does this one do? I don't know which computer this is. Is it this one or is it the laptop? Or it could be the Mac Mini. No, I don't want to open security and privacy settings. All right, OBS. Let's try. All right, while that is thinking about opening OBS, except Frank, what's going on with Frank? Oh, Frank seems fine here. Yes. Oh, I see you, Peter. Yeah, Frank is getting exclusive use of all the bandwidth. Nobody else gets to see anything. Anyway, while that is opening OBS, I'm going to pull some more cables off this other bench. Back to here. Okay, so what do we have? What is this doing? Is that attached? Oh, right, I remember now. That was because that other monitor didn't have a stand. So I made this kind of dodgy thing to sit it on. And I got a little monitor riser that I'd made previously and just nailed a bit of wood onto the back of it for the monitor to rest against. All right, now to get my, my Zigbee gateway back running, I'm going to find a random power point to plug this into, just as a temporary thing, until I've got the stuff over there set up again and I have a permanent power point for it. Now, this monitor stand, I can't just pull it out because there is a little dock underneath it that I need, that has cables going under the bench. So, what's the deal with that? Oh, and there's the there's another trackball as well. Yeah, so the other thing I'm going to do, I should have started doing this while I was waiting for the other computer, is remove that. So these monitors up the top here are connected to my Linux machine, which is down under the bench, and it's already turned off. So that's why they're all blank at the moment. Okay. Now, I won't have any video sources, but at least I do have OBS here. So what I'm going to do is kill this stream. I'm going to do some rearranging and yeah, and get the, sorry, I was distracted because I was seeing the V levels on OBS over there. I'm going to get at least one camera plugged into that computer, and then I'll be able to hopefully stream better than I'm doing right now. Yeah, I'm getting 1700 kilobits a second as my upload bandwidth, which is rubbish. That makes me wonder if it is the internet connection and not just the computer struggling. All right. Okay, I am going to kill this live stream and start a new one. Probably in about 10 minutes, but I'm going to have to do some rearranging before I can. Okay, I'll be back.